Hello, Kirsten here. It's been about a year since I made a video, so I thought, what better time than now? There's a lot happening in the world and the country, and I wanted to join in, add my voice to the discussion. I thought, be outside with nature at spring, new beginnings, right? Okay, so I want to talk about the Will Smith Chris Rock situation. Now, I watch the Oscars live, I always have, and I was watching it live when this occurred, the incident occurred. And as many people probably said if they were watching live, looked like a joke at first, right? He goes up there, didn't look like a smack, it looked like a close hand hit, but either way, thought it was a joke. Didn't know it wasn't a joke until you see Chris looking flustered, and then the sound goes out. There's a train. The sound goes out for about 30 seconds, then they show Will, and he looks angry, and he looks like he's yelling something. And then I found out a few minutes later what he actually yelled. So some people still think it's a joke. I don't know how you could think all this was a joke. What would anybody have to gain from this, really? Other than Chris is coming out looking good, which as he should, because he handled it in the best way possible. But this is my thoughts. I think the joke was an incredibly poor taste. I don't think it was funny. Chris Rock has a history of saying jokes that are offensive, tasteless. I think he's a fairly funny guy, not the funniest, but he has offended people many times with his humor, and this is not the first time he's offended Will and Jada Pinkett Smith. 2016 Oscars, which of course I watched live. Jada boycotted it because there wasn't enough minorities nominated, and Will was not nominated. So I feel like even though she didn't publicly say it, that part of her was, speaking up and making a stance for her husband, among with other minorities. Chris made a joke at her expense and said she's not relevant enough to even take a stance. Now, they were supposed to be casual friends from what I hear, so I think that joke was in poor taste. I have no idea, but I wouldn't be surprised if Will and Jada didn't see it as a joke, didn't take kindly to it. Here he goes again, making another joke at their expense. I'm going to turn around here. And here's the thing. I think there's several reasons Will popped off. Now, I'm super annoyed to hear people say, Will's a simp, Will's a punk, this is extra feminine of him to, act out of emotion. The whole manosphere community, which I have friends that are part of, wants to use this as an opportunity to again bash Will and Jada. I don't think they handle things perfectly, and I do have more issues with Jada than Will. Here's the thing, they are trying to live with authenticity and vulnerability. I truly believe that. I don't think enough of us do that. I think that we're afraid to. It makes us uncomfortable. And yes, you are much more open to ridicule, judgment, and criticism, which is what happened to them. Now, Will is only human. Celebrities are only human. And I'm so sick of hearing people say they opened themselves up for this. They didn't have to open themselves up to this kind of obsessive clowning that's been taking place for years. What I think happened is, I've heard so many black men say, in particular, that they looked up to him, they respected him, they admired him, they loved him for his charm, his humor, his work ethic, what he's been able to obtain, right? But they've lost respect for him because that he can't manage his wife, that he's allowed her to say things about him and their marriage that emasculate him. But what I think's underneath that, why men, black men, and some women are so angry about this, and I feel like it's an obsessive level of involvement with their lives and analyzing his downfall, is because his level of vulnerability and authenticity makes black men incredibly uncomfortable. It's very difficult as a black man to live like that in this country. I understand that. And so seeing him live like that is offensive, makes them mad, and they want to punish him for it. They already want to punish Jada because she's not one to be controlled. I think she's an alpha female. There's nothing wrong with that. I consider myself an alpha female. There's all types. And that doesn't make him a beta male though. So what happened is he snapped. He's not unstable as people like to say. He snapped. It became too much. There had been years of constant criticism, clowning. Yes, they opened the door. Yes, they had an open marriage, but Jada was the one who made a mistake because it became an emotional affair with August. I think that was the issue. She had an emotional affair, and because of the emotional, it got messy with who she was messing around with. And we don't know how they dealt with it within their marriage. They talked about it years after the fact. So all these jokes, they're not really jokes about Will didn't have that same energy towards August Alsina that he had towards Chris Rock. I mean, that's just foolishness. People don't know anything. People are making wild assumptions based on what suits their narrative, based on what makes them feel comfortable, based on what makes them continue to want to punish this man that they once adored and now that they don't respect. Will is not immune to this. He's been trying to rise above it, but I've heard it. There's just been non-stop onslaught of criticism towards him and Jada and how they handle things. Again, most of these are assumptions. We don't know exactly how they handle things. There's so many assumptions that have been made about them because people want to fill in the gaps. That's what people do. If they don't know all, they only know some of the facts, they fill in the gaps on their own to suit whatever their own narrative already is. And so, again, Will's level of authenticity and vulnerability is hugely uncomfortable to a lot of people. They're not used to seeing men operate in those terms, and so they are mad at him, and they can't forgive him for that. They want to punish him. They want to punish Jada. And so, yes, he should have not punched Chris Rock in public on a national platform. I mean, that should never happen. I don't believe the Oscars was going to remove him and arrest him, and I don't think they would have allowed him to get the Oscar within a half an hour later if it had been that serious. I think what happened, they saw the backlash after the fact, and, they do what people do to save face and protect themselves, and so they're going to do all this now, trying to clean it all up. But be that as it may, it's just really unfortunate. I'm sick of hearing it, and I think that people, and the comedians, oh my gosh, they're going in on Will. The comedians are in Chris Rock's camp. I get it. He's in their family. Will Smith is not a comedian by nature. I mean, he's a funny guy, but he's not a comic. So I am not condoning anything Will Smith said or did. I do think, hitting Chris Rock was a bad move. He could have stayed in his seat and said, "Keep my wife's name out of your mouth." That would have gotten the point across. He could have talked to him after the fact. And so him getting up like that, yes, I do think it was in direct response to the incredible, ridiculous amount of clowning and ridiculing and jokes at his expense that he's been having for years. And all for what? What is his crime? For allowing his wife to do and say things that emasculate him? That's his crime? That's why you lost all respect for him? That's why you used to love him, but you don't like him anymore? Like, I can't stand it when I hear people say, "I still love Will, I just don't respect him." If I was him, I would be like, stop saying my name. Just stop talking about me. If you don't respect me, why are you thinking about me? Like, I don't understand, if all these people have lost respect, why are they focusing so much on what he has said or done? The level of attention this is getting, and that he gets for his quote-unquote bad behavior or beta male behavior or punkish or simpist behavior is ridiculous, is concerning, and I think it speaks to a pathology in the community that is not well. So that was mainly what I wanted to address. I know that my opinion is unpopular. Nothing excuses Will hitting Chris on public TV, but Chris saying a tasteless joke at a family's expense that he has already done before was just poor judgment. It was not smart. There's so many other celebrities he could have targeted. There's other things he could have said rather than going personal. I'm not even talking about the black hair, black women part of it all, and that is a part of this. But yeah, it's an unpopular opinion. I don't care about any comments. I'm not going to read the comments. I'm not trying to debate anybody. This is just my thoughts on it, and they're not going to change. I feel like beneath all of this, you know, Will needs to do better, and just, he's lost all of my respect, lies the people making assumptions, and they want to punish him because he was incredibly vulnerable, and that makes people uncomfortable. That's beneath all of it, in my opinion. Anyway, I will probably be back with more videos. I just wanted to weigh in on this tragedy. I think overall good things are going to come out of it for everybody. We just have to weather this storm. Take care.